A crisis has been averted at Stormont this evening after the Prime Minister announced that he would hold an independent, judge-led investigation into letters given to on-the-runs. Our political editor, Ken Reid, is with me in the studio. So, Ken, the Prime Minister then taking action to defuse this situation.
Yes, it was during a press conference with Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, when he took the opportunity to talk about Northern Ireland, and he had this to say.
When we came to power in 2010, we inherited a process where letters were sent setting out the factual position on whether or not some individuals were wanted for questioning by the police. This process continued under this government. There was never any amnesty or guarantee of immunity for anyone, and there isn't now. But I agree with the First Minister of Northern Ireland that after the terrible error in the Downey case, it is right to get to the bottom of what happened. The case has already been referred to the Police Ombudsman, but as the First Minister has said, we should have a full independent examination of the whole operation of this scheme. So I can announce today that we will appoint an independent judge to produce a full public account of the operation of this administrative scheme to determine whether any other letters were sent in error. The judge will have full access to government files and to government officials. This needs to happen quickly, so this review will report by the end of May and we'll publish the report.
That was the Prime Minister speaking earlier. Here, the Secretary of State has now intervened and, importantly, the Secretary of State says we will take whatever steps are necessary to make clear to all recipients of letters arising from the administrative scheme in a manner that will satisfy the courts and public that any letters issued cannot be relied upon to avoid questioning or prosecution for offences where information or evidence is now or later becomes available. I should also like to make it clear that, to my knowledge, this government did not inform either the First Minister or the Justice Minister of this scheme. And that is the latest from the Secretary of State, issued a short time ago. It's been a very tense 24 hours, Ken.
It has, but just a few minutes ago, Peter Robinson welcomed the statement from the Prime Minister and the Secretary of State. And just outside Stormont Castle, he said this to the media.
And I trust that we therefore can move forward, and I feel confident with this administration that we can move forward on the basis that we will not find ourselves being surprised by matters that have been hidden from us. At the very heart of our responsibility in government is to know exactly what the information is upon which we ourselves can take decisions. Nothing should be hidden from our administration if it's a matter over which we have responsibility and control. So I hope that we can put this episode behind us. I wish the judge well when he is appointed. We will certainly cooperate with him. I hope that the victims in particular will recognise that this step back by the government on this process will ensure that justice can be done when the evidence is available for it to be done. At the very heart of our concerns was the very proper and rightful concern on the part of victims.
So far, Ken, we've heard from Peter Robinson there, from the Secretary of State, from the Prime Minister. So what is Sinn Féin saying?
Well, just a few minutes ago, Martin McGuinness on his Twitter account said nothing had happened today that undermines the status of the letters issued by the British government and which the British Attorney General says was a lawful process. Now, this followed up very much from what Jerry Kelly said earlier. He talked about this being a manufactured crisis, and when he spoke to Tracy McGee, he had this to say.
Well, I think it's unnecessary, and we said that Theresa Villers, the Attorney General, the British Attorney General, said in the House of Commons yesterday that the process was entirely lawful, it was entirely within the law and proper. So I'm not sure what there should be an inquiry into. However, if that's what's needed, I think this is a political fig leaf. I think the crisis that's been talked up here is a manufactured crisis. And if this allows us to move through it, then I suppose the British Prime Minister has made that decision and there's not a lot we can do about it.
A manufactured crisis, or just how serious was it?
Well, as always in these things, things tend to gather legs, and there was great worry. I know there was, talking both to my sources in Downing Street and in the Irish government, and being up at Stormont and talking to MLAs, there was a feeling that the thing was getting out of control. But I think probably the key point in this was that Peter Robinson was talking extensively to the Prime Minister, and I think the Prime Minister realised that he had to act to do something. Really, the ramifications of this judgment that emerged on Tuesday were sinking deeply in to the political psyche here, and I think perhaps when the Prime Minister spoke this afternoon, you could feel the whole atmosphere changing, the crisis dissipated. Now, somebody said to me a short time ago, it's really turned from a crisis into a normal political row.
Ken, let's leave it there for the moment. Talk to you again in a few minutes' time.